Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omni viewer, and it seems that UFO disclosure is finally moving forward, albeit slowly and so far kind of anticlimactically. The most we know at this point is that the government has been collecting research on this topic despite years of denial, and they don't know what these things are either. And that's assuming you even believe that line. After all, there is such a thing as disinformation. Very true, Snazzy, very true. But something else has stood out to me during this time. One thing people keep saying is that when the truth about UFOs and alien life is finally disclosed to the public, it will be religion, specifically Christianity, that will be hit the hardest, and it probably won't survive. This, of course, has also been met with some Christian commentators claiming that what we call UFOs and aliens are actually demons, and disclosure is nothing more than a satanic deception. Now, I'm a Christian, but I'm also a UFO eyewitness who believes in the possibility of life on other planets. Ergo, some of you might be wondering what my perspective on all of this is. Well, something that might help me demonstrate my viewpoint is a forgotten movie that hails from the Cold War. And when I say forgotten, I mean I rarely see anybody talk about it anymore. I speak, of course, of Red Planet Mars. The story goes something like this. Satellites have detected evidence of an advanced civilization on Mars, and a husband and wife scientist duo are using an experimental transmitting device to try making contact. Wait a minute, is that Peter Graves? Yes, in one of his more obscure roles. Getting back to the plot, at first contact seems impossible, but when the couple's eldest son suggests transmitting the first 5 digits of pi, a discourse is finally established, and mankind starts asking the Martians questions. The answers received from Mars are astounding, and when made public, they result in chaos across the Western world. Revelations about how Martians have long lives and miraculous clean fuel sources lead to industries in America, Europe, and other capitalist nations being flung into turmoil. Businessmen and their political allies view these revelations as threats to their bank accounts, so they wind up making changes, the economy plummets, and things look so dire that the US government declares no further messages are to be released to the public unless they receive direct presidential approval. Now, during all of this, the Soviets have been listening to this exchange, well, specifically through a former Nazi scientist they rescued and have stationed in South America. As you might guess, the Soviets couldn't be happier with the developing chaos. They figure that after the West crumbles, as it appears to be doing with each new answer from Mars, they will inevitably swoop in to conquer the world, and communism will have finally won. Yet the tables turn when another message comes along, one that is at first deemed by Graves' character to be just as dangerous as all the others, but its effect will not be what you might expect. This latest translated message is in response to the question of why the Martians, with so much incredible power at their disposal, are not hostile towards each other the way human beings are. The response comes from the spiritual leader of Mars, who imparts that humanity was told long ago how they should behave. The quotes and timeline, to everyone's shock, line up with the Bible, specifically the parts about Jesus Christ. This message has some pretty astounding implications. At the very least, the Martians appear to be Christians who have just confirmed the veracity of the Bible, and at the very most, The Martians might be linked to divinity closer than we thought. Despite the initial concerns, this message ends up having a positive effect upon release. A Christian revival sweeps the globe that restores stability, and word of it even gets through the Iron Curtain, leading to a new revolution that, through trial and hardship, overthrows the communist regime and replaces it with a pacifist theocracy. In short order, the Cold War ends, the global panic subsides, peace prevails, and the world becomes united in worship of the Almighty. As you can see, Red Planet Mars puts forward a scenario in which Christianity is not negatively affected by first contact with alien life. In fact, the exact opposite happens. This flies right in the face of all the rhetoric that's been going around recently, of course. But as is so often the case, that rhetoric comes from the most extreme sensationalized opinions. And naturally, that means you must dig a little bit deeper in order to figure out what the rational majority actually thinks. As it turns out, many of us Christians see no conflict at all between our faith and extraterrestrial life. We know the Bible is about God's relationship with humans on Earth. It says nothing about Mars, Alpha Centauri, or any other cosmic location, but it does occasionally mention non-human intelligences that are neither angels nor demons. As such, many of us are quite open to the idea that there is life beyond Earth. In fact, we believe that if God created the universe and everything in it, and aliens exist in that universe, then he obviously created them as well. Furthermore, coincidentally or not, a lot of us Christians believe that Red Planet Mars depicts the more likely scenario of how society will change after first contact. The secular and materialist institutions would be the first things to go when aliens arrive, since this would reframe all of mankind's economic and political squabbling as truly petty and pointless. The very existence of aliens would force all humans to stop defining ourselves by regimes or nations, and finally define ourselves as the people of Earth. As for spirituality, for all we know, the aliens also believe in God, and they might not be fallen the same way humans are. Alternatively, maybe we are meant to evangelize them, or perhaps they have unique paths to their salvation. The point is, there are more possibilities than just what the media has been putting forward. The only way to know anything for certain is for the truth to finally be disclosed. We'll see how long that actually takes, but in the meantime, I'm not fazed by the rhetoric at all. And, of course, I also recommend tracking down and watching Red Planet Mars. It's actually pretty good. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off. Among all this disclosure stuff is the claim that there are actually aliens living among humans, very Men in Black style, just sort of walking around in plain sight, either disguised or just passing for us. And you know what? If there really are any aliens out there doing that, I'd actually like to talk to them. I'm sure we could have some pretty interesting discussions.